let me share a little bit of why we're here today and the intention behind this conversation. Three of us, Aurelia, Joy, and I, came together with different superpowers, different skills, and it was an experiment, right? To see how fast or how big a shift can happen for the person when we combine our modalities. So we had like 6 weeks program together, Aurelia started the journey, right? Aurelia, share a little bit of how your process works for anybody who's watching to understand what you do a little bit.
So I am reading people's emotional energies, and the way I do it, I kind of scan the body, and in different parts of the body, different emotional energies live. And I read into them. And what I'm really interested in are resistances and emotional blocks and emotional conflicts. So I read through the person. I find their big souls lessons and things that we're here to. We all have a couple or a few souls lessons and things we're here to experience. And on difficult things we have to face and work through, and that will contribute the most to our expansion. And I see in general how the emotional body works and how the system is functioning. So I do this reading, and then I share information, and we actually exchange. We talk with a client about the information I've read and how it makes sense to them, and about the intention is to really bring them clarity so they can understand themselves better, and then they can change things if they feel they want to. So we had a session with Chadney at the beginning of the process. And then at the very end, after Joey and Agne worked with her for 5 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a 6-week work in total. And I was really amazed to see after these 5 weeks how the emotional system has changed. And I'm thinking especially about one thing where certain energies had a block. And when we had this second session with Chandni, I saw not only that the block has disappeared, but I saw new emotional energies starting to form and bloom. And it just felt like, okay, some new life experience is going to happen there. And this was really nice. I was not expecting for the change to be that big, that a block disappears and something new is blooming in this place. So awesome. This really allowed me to see the change. And I think that Channi also was able to compare what we've seen and see for her as well, like how different she felt and how differently she was functioning. And actually, even without the energy reading, it was just obvious. When I just started talking with Channi, I was like, oh my God, she's in different energies. So this was really great.
Yeah, so Aurelia, it was, we used your skill to get feedback before the process of Chandani's kind of state of energetic, emotional, and all the combination of things, how she was coming into this project, so to speak. Me and Joy, we have different tools, clearing energies or shifting or like releasing the blockages. But the very important piece was Aurelia's work, where we could get information, what to clear or what to work on specifically. So this was very, very important step with Aurelia. And Joy, describe how your process works a little bit too.
Presence manifest is an applied energetic philosophy. So how my work takes place is a combination of energy work in which I clear what I call experiential templates, which is residue left over from past experiences in people's energy system. But the bigger part of it really is teaching the philosophy. And so over the course of the 5 sessions, the goal is really to impart the simple practice that you can do every day in order to create these clearings on your own, and then also to see and understand and experience the effects of the clearings so that you know what you're doing for the most part, like a good basic understanding, and then have the ability by the end of the process to track when you get stuck, track when you're in the past, recognize it, and be able to bring yourself into the present with these tools. So the beautiful part of this process for me was that typically I do this in 7 days, and we have one of these sessions every day for 7 days. And for integration purposes, it was really nice to have it once a week for 5 weeks, as opposed to every day for 7 days. But what made that possible was the additional information, support, and energy work from the whole project. Because typically when I'm working by myself, that amount of space between would not be beneficial, because there'd be too much shifting in a week, too many days without energy work, too many days without talking, too many days without transformation being the priority, right? It's like it would sort of be 2 steps forward, 1 step back if I was to do it in this weekly process without being part of a larger group. So that's what we did every week. We talked about philosophy and we did energy clearing, and I think it also made a big difference having a client that really, really showed up.
Right.
Really showing up and doing the work and taking notes and engaging and applying is really more than 50% of the of the
Transformation.
effect.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Right.
that's what I did, and that's how it worked for the last 6 weeks.
Yes. So me and Joy worked, how do you say that? Every week, like you had a session, I had a session with Chandani. My process is again different, very structured, and working in different levels of the being. So in the first session, we activated some internal resources, so resourceful states. The second session, we worked on rewiring the brain and clearing the blockages that prevents our processing mechanism from being effective. The third step, we very exploratory session for Chandani. I'm sure I remember you mentioning it was a lot, like giving a lot of information about yourself, right? And yeah, we cleared a lot of past memories or future concerns out of the body into the timelines. Then we worked with chakras, even though Chandani is very familiar with chakra system and so on. That was also a good step. And the final session, accessing your highest self, was one of a kind. So it was really a fun journey for me, at least, working with you. And Chandani, I want to ask you to share a little bit of where were you before we started working together, How did you feel, and what was the main struggle in your experience?
Before starting this journey, I was in a loop. Like, um, I was reading a lot of stuff. I was trying to do a lot of things, like whatever I could, but I was not able to come out of it. Like, I would move and then move back, like move forward, move back. And what I realized after taking these sessions was like how easier and what a pleasant journey it became with all of you together. And you were there to guide me through each and every step and really release. We talk about release, but then how do we really release? How do we experience? How do we know we are releasing? And once we've started releasing, then and calling the resources to heal, then what kind of experiences we have to confirm it and to keep on moving forward. So all of it came together for me, like not only releasing the stuff, but moving forward with like, and that is a part I feel like before having these sessions, I was making moves and then coming back. And it was such a struggle. I was like, I used to wonder, like, I'm doing so many things very diligently and sincerely. Then why is the change, like what I want and how I want to move, is not happening? And the reason is because I was carrying so much of burden, like so much of past with me. And I was not exactly calling my inner resources. There are a lot of words I've read, I've heard online. We talk about release, we talk about surrender. And then again, we have conditionings around those words. Also, like, what do we mean by it? So all these things, when it came under your guidance, the boundaries for the good things and to experience more started dissolving, and the real boundaries, those should have been in the place, they started appearing. I hope I'm making sense.
Yes.
And that is one thing. Like, so first thing is that I did come out of that loop and I moved, and I really moved. And this movement is not like okay, I changed something internally. I know I have moved in lot of ways, and all those energy hooks I had in like so many different spaces and places, they just started dissolving. And I don't feel that burden anymore that I'm carrying those things. Um I'm understanding the meaning of surrender more now, and really understanding my own path. Like, myself, like what's my path, what is good for me, and being able to choose it as well. Yes, I had a choice, but did I have the wisdom to move? I may have the wisdom, but did I have the confidence and the courage to move? Again, I may have it, but then how much was I willing to do it? It all like came together and I was able to move. And it's not only like internal change. I've understood like now the internal and external goes side by side. So like today in the morning I had a dream, and luckily now i I was not analyzing when I got up like in the morning. I was not analyzing that dream at all. I was like, okay, I had this dream, and then I just tried to align myself, and I was just there, aligned. And I let the resolution come to me from the knowingness of how the resolution would be, rather than using my mind. And that part of awareness was so good because that means peace, that means knowingness, and I don't have to really struggle. Let
Mhm.
it come, let it be.
That's really beautiful sharing, actually, because I remember my observation of you at the beginning and the first sessions. You were a lot of like analyzing everything mentally. You are in your head most of the time. And now that allowing, as you describe, like it comes from the heart. It's when you kind of move from the head space to your heart space, you create a completely different experience in your life, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I would like to add something Tedney touched on. When we have emotional blockages, these blockages, when we are internally ready to solve them, they tend to manifest in a lot of different areas at the same time. And so what happens when we clear a blockage, all these different areas, professional, personal, passion, activities we're doing, in all these areas, suddenly this blockage is not there anymore. So all these areas also change at the same time. And it is really powerful because we actually do get to experience the results and the evidence that we changed internally in the outside world, because we observe ourselves reacting differently, people acting differently, things aligning in a different way. And so this is really powerful, and I'm really happy for you because I've seen your internal change, and I just saw really that you are relating to the world really differently and that you feel strong inside. This was something that really was very impressive for me. I just felt how strong you feel inside on the second session we had. Yeah, so beautiful.
I do feel a lot stronger then. It was
Mhm.
something like I knew I was. It at one point I was, and then I lost it, and it's like regaining it, and after a lot of struggle. And I know, like when you all were with me, I felt like it was like an army of your energies. I know, like there's no way I could have done it alone. There's no way. And when you all were there, there was such a big protection around me, and really like the guidance and the light to see where I have to go, how to go. And I do feel so strong inside now.
I'm like crying. It just
Me
feels
too.
so good. It's like, because
I have been sorry.
we just, it's like, this is what we want for everyone, right?
Yeah.
It's like, so to hear it is just so refreshing. And not that we don't hear it, in our past and everything, but it is the difference, I think, that we're all seeking to do, is not only give information, but to walk you through it, right? So that you do have that knowing, so it becomes part of you. And that's actual transformation. And what a lot of things that I've taken part of or I've studied over the years, it's either been the information without the walk,
Mhm.
or the walk and they keep the information hidden because they don't want you to really know how you got there, because they don't want you to do it yourself. And I feel like the three of us personally are seeking to empower people, and and the feedback is so wonderful to hear, because it's like we're all just doing our purpose,
Mhm.
which is so great to feel.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're just, I mean, that little conversation the other day online, and you're just like, yes, you should just send your experience. And that was just like a little private conversation for the people watching. But I was just like, yes, exactly. Like, that's like my favorite moments, is when I can just sit back and go, yeah, like that's what it looks like working. Like when someone actually steps up and does the work, right? Which I commend you. Like, you really did. You really took everything that we had to offer and took it to heart and put it to practice. And
That's right.
when you do that, shifts happen. you know so
Yeah, me too.
but you were going to say something.
I want to acknowledge Chandani for really putting the work in it. And I remember like having sessions with you, and you were like, "Oh, Joy told me this. oh, I felt the result, and this morning I did that, what Joy told me. I'm like, okay, that's good, right? So I really enjoy that, like working together and support, because both all of us, at least Aurelia, me, and Joy, we experienced each other process, so we are aware of what we do, right? So I think that is also like interesting and important for us to it helps to follow your journey more than anything. So yeah, it's been beautiful to observe that process for you, really. And maybe you would like to share a little bit about your experience with each of us. Is that something you wanna do?
Sure, sure. Um, so I remember in my first session with Orileja, she, when she was scanning the energy, um, I felt the energy going down. And a lot of times we talk about it, but to really like feel it, and and then when she was telling me things, I was like, I could have never imagined. And once you know what you have to work on, then it becomes easier. And earlier, so whatever Aurelia just suggested me, I associated with some part of it, and I didn't know the other part because it was hidden. But once she brought it forward, and when I started working on it, a lot of things came up, and I was so surprised. Like, wow, this is such an amazing gift to really scan the energies and be able to know like what the blockages are. And like that's the whole thing. Like if you know what you have to do, people can do it. But if you don't know what to do, then you're just like banging your head on this wall and this wall. So for me it was so important, like when you told me about the blockages, I may or may not have associated in the first go, but during this process I know how like what you said made sense over time. And thankful to you so much, because it's like, somebody gives you work and you are like, okay, no, 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 not all of it. No, you have a lot of like things that come up and say no, and then you say, okay, let me see, and you see those things in your life. So it was wonderful, thank you so much. And Joey, presence manifest and releasing the space was such an amazing concept. Like I feel like I was really holding on to so much labels, trying to kind of like, protect myself by labeling. Okay, I did not want to get hurt. And I was so holding on to the experiences, labels, and defining people. So when you told me the philosophy behind presence manifest, and to forget the labels, to forget the forms, and just focus on the wisdom behind it, I just loved the concept so much, and I was like, this makes so much of sense. Like, we talk about reincarnations all the time, and the whole purpose is like, you forget the past and you take a new birth. So, when we are actually going into something new, it is so important for us to release the experiences. And when I started doing it, I was like, wow, I followed so diligently, like, especially for the first 2 days, I remember. And I had so much that I was carrying, and that was clouding my judgment. It was like I was just clouded by all those judgments, forms, and I was really tired of carrying it. So presence manifest helped me so much. Like even today, like in the morning, I was having a conversation with my husband about some incident in the past with somebody. And after talking to him, I was like, let's not judge this person. Let's just end those experiences. We got the wisdom out of it. So we ended the experience. I ended the name of the person and whatever was associated. I was like, okay, I got the wisdom. It happens. It's okay. And I was able to accept it. It's just a wisdom. I don't have to define people. And it's just like it's in me right now. I'm doing it so often, and thank you so much. It was such an integral part in really understanding how to move. So until I release, I will have all the hooks all up, and how to create space for the healing to happen, and that space for new things to come. And that was just amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Joy. We had so many conversations. You were there, and you listened to me, and you cleared so many doubts, so many doubts. It never felt like I was talking to someone outside. I mean, you understood it all. I connected with you so easily, and you understood that part. Thank you so much. Igne, your quantum healing is so amazing. Like, I just love it. Like, really having the ability to call our resources and to experience them, and um, really questioning it. And like, that was like amazing for me. The very first day you took the session of calling all my resources, and in no way I was expecting it to be all internal. Like, it all came as sensations, all the energies, and the very first day I felt the energies, and I felt that inner transformation started happening right there. And I
Mhm.
remember waking up the very next day, and after such a long time, like really really long time, I felt okay, really felt okay after the very first session. And I was like, things have moved. It speeds up the movement so much, like when all the resources get activated, and they were working behind the scenes. And then
Mhm.
as we moved on, like how you taught me with the IMAP to create, like, organize internally,
Right.
organize the spaces, and with the timelines. I mean, I still remember how my timeline was like so up, so such a big struggle,
Mhm.
and how you
Yes.
made it so easy by pulling it down to smoothness. All
Mhm.
those belief systems also got transformed, and the session with the higher self was amazing. It was so amazing. I remember, like, I felt so much at peace that day, and I knew it'll be okay. And that sense to come back after whatever, like, we have gone through, like, that sense to come back where we really don't need anybody else, and we ourselves are the source of light,
Right.
was like, coming back. And then when I went, even now, like, I was remembering like how I felt that day, and I was like, I should carry that with me, at least that part. I should carry with me, and I should remember it's okay. In the end, it's really really okay.
That's
It was beautiful. Thank you so much. And I really feel like I feel so happy because I was really praying for this, like when Agne announced it. I remember, like, I was doing, I haven't shared this with you earlier, but I want to now. I think in the middle of the December, I was listening to something, and that's also the time of Christmas. So it was related, and they said, like, they were saying that um, they're talking about three kings who came, like, during,
the
and
wise
I was like,
man.
can I please have it? And I remember, like, I was like, that would be so great, like if someone can come. And but they were explaining it in a different sense. And that was around middle of the December, and you announced this session the end of the December. And now I'm able to connect those lights. And
Right.
I so wanted to move, and I was really praying. I prayed so much to
That I
move.
even
And
heard you.
yes.
Really, my experience of this, I remember we decided to choose one person, and there were quite a number of people who signed up for this. And we're discussing between few, like when we're planning to choose between few people, right? And all my thought, logical mind was going to someone else. But then just I really internally heard you praying for that experience. And yeah, I just couldn't deny that. And that's how we ended up here.
Yes,
And I recall
and
just being so impressed, right? I was like, but she stood up and she did it in front of everybody. Like,
Right.
I was like,
Yeah.
I know she'll be part of it.
Yeah, it's been a beautiful journey, really. And the most important part that our work that we have done so far will continue to impact you, and it will continue to evolve. Even if you don't do anything intentionally, things will continue to shift for you. But I know that you will be applying those practices and in your daily life. And I'm just want to see where you will be in a year from now.
absolutely. In fact, again, I was like really thankful in the morning, and I was like, it's in me now.
Right.
I mean, it is in me, like you said, it is going to be impacting me. It's always there in the background. I know this process is running because I'm actually feeling things being materialized outside in a very miraculous way. It's not like one or two or three things. It is like I'm becoming a magnet, attracting the right things, and still not like getting so much attached to it. So I'm still like, okay, what it means to me now.
Mhm.
So I'm like, okay, this is coming. It may go, it may not, but I see those things coming, and I'm just sitting and they're appearing.
Lovely. Lovely. Thank you for sharing this, Chandani. Do we have any specific questions for Chandani? Joy, Aurelia?
I just would like to say that it all sounds to me like you are in your power. Like this is really the feminine power at its purest form. You're just sitting there, creating from your energy, and things just show up for you. I love it. I think that this image is so perfect, and I'm so happy to see that. And I just wish all the women in all the world being in this energy. This is so, so beautiful. And when we are operating from this space, what we can create is absolutely limitless. But actually, it's also very beautiful because of this specific type of power. When I'm creating from my inner space, but things appear outside, it's not, you just said it's not, you are not attached. So you're not attached to specific expressions. You're not attached to, it has to be this way and appear on this time and in this way. And it is a co-creation with the universe, right? So it's also a little bit of a miraculous surprises for you as well, because you get to see in the outside world how your internal energy operates. It's reflected back to you. And I feel like it's very beautiful because we continuously learn from what is happening on the outside about ourselves. And it's, this type of creation is very, very expensive because it is a co-creation. So it benefits us and the universe at large at the same time. It's really beautiful, and it is a very feminine type of creation. And I'm just loving witnessing that. So thank you for sharing it.
Wow, thank you.
I just can't stop smiling. I'm like, I think something we should mention too, in align with what Agne said, is that at least with the presence manifest piece, it really has a compounding exponential snowball effect, right? Like once you initiate presence to manifest, then everything you manifest is from presence, and everything in presence manifests from that, and it just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes, which I think is the beauty of this collaboration here. It's like we started the snowball and we got to watch it And then, you know, each of us add so much fuel to that and so much power behind that. And honestly, so much love behind that. And it's just, it just warms my heart to know that, like I said, even if you didn't do anything, like from this moment forward, it's going to continue,
Right.
right? In Agne's words, continue to continue.
I was about to continue to continue. I really like, I was thinking about something the other day, and I called the resources and I said the exact words like Agne says, continue to continue.
Beautiful. And so the
And I could
snowball turns
see,
into the avalanche.
right. And I'm using both the processes together. So if there's anything like, so I end it and then I call the resources. So say if there are onion layers behind something, like a lot of layers. So the moment I start using it with present manifest, one layer out, and then I call the inner resource. Other layer out, inner resource.
So you're combining and creating your own structures that works for you. That's awesome.
Oh, I do have a question. I know it's hypothetical, right? So, but what do you think the difference for you would have been if you went through our sessions the way that they typically would? Like if they weren't combined, right? Like, so say, like if you can imagine learning presence manifest for 7 days, you know, and then maybe 4 or 5 weeks later coming across and doing quantum, and then, you know, luckily being, you know, finding finding someone who could see your energy, you know, it's like, it's like, what do you think the chances are that you would have come across these 3 things and in this fashion to kind of get the results that you've gotten through this collaboration? And how long do you think that might have taken you?
Um, to me, it's like going in a grade and instead of like, doing all the subjects together, like maths, English, and science, how like you have to know English and maths and also science. If you keep on doing it separately, it's not going to come together in a, like, first of all, the way it should be. All three came together to really help me with the ascension. I don't think so if it comes like one way, it may have had an impact, but the entire clearing together, like, it was very important for me to know the blockages also, because I also have the capacity to work on my own also, right? But all the things together and knowing how to do it, and the releasing part. If I'm not releasing but just knowing, that was what I was facing. Like, I was knowing there was like, okay, there's a process, okay, I kept on doing it, but the releasing part and not calling my resources at the same time, calling the resource, so it's like together. That's why I could go to the next grade. Does it make sense?
It does. I think our work amplifies it, like because of this collaboration. Each process amplifies the other one. I
Yes.
believe, yeah, it's that's why we can see that's almost exponential growth.
Right.
Yeah.
And I do feel like there is not like a little growth, there is an exponential growth, and this has set in a motion now.
Yes.
Right.
I was really
Well,
impressed witnessing the changes. I was really impressed. And it was, so I'm taking this example, it could be something else, but this thing with, so I just feel called to talk a little bit about the feminine energies. I don't know why. Maybe because we are 4 women here, and I was just thinking to myself how beautiful it is to have this feminine energy support, actually. Because a lot of times we think about women as being jealous, being in competition, or whatever. And I feel that the world needs so much feminine communities, feminine support. I feel like this is so healing. So I'm really happy about that as well. And that one of the things we were talking about was these blockages associated to the feminine energy in the first session. And we all do have them in different ways because we have different experiences in life. And our families pass onto us different representations. And it was so surprising for me to see that not only did you clear these blockages that were so deep and that were passed to you in the family, not only they were not there anymore, it was like this new feminine, strong, beautiful energy embodied and starting to grow in you. And I was like, oh my God, like I was expecting the blockages to diminish, but I was not expecting them to completely disappear and being replaced by something absolutely new. And it was so beautiful. And you've really done a lot of work. And it was impressive for me to see that from the energetic level, definitely. Yeah, so congratulations. It was really beautiful.
That's beautiful. Thank you. And it's so good to hear that that I was. I mean, I had been doing a lot of things earlier, but this way, like it was a correct way of doing it, and this time it made a difference. And I was also praying. There was one additional prayer, and I was like, I really needed to change this poison into medicine for me and for whosoever is in my world, and whatever ignorance I had in my life to be transformed into wisdom. So but thank you so much. Like I didn't know I could do it, but yes, I wanted to do it. But
And
when
you
you
did it.
three, thank you, and
You did.
like thank you so much. It's so good to hear that because, like I said, not internal, external as well.
Nice. I have to say, as a practitioner and having never done this particular hour combination before, or very many combinations in transformation work, it is really awesome to have 3 other voices of input to not so much validate, although it does validate what we're all doing, but to get other validation from outside of what we already see, right? Like, I see your growth, I see your presence, I see your possibility, I see your wonder, right? But I don't see how your energetic form has changed. I don't see the little blooming thing. Like, I don't have that sight, right? So to hear it in other languages, I think also helps when you're learning something new and when you're doing transformation work, is you're getting much of the same information, but you're getting it in multiple ways. You're getting it in multiple styles. You're getting it, in multiple forms energetically. So that has been one of the best parts, I think, of this, is just the feedback loop. Does that make sense? Like, is that a good term for it?
Yes.
Like, we have more people, so there's so there's more feedback, so that there's more that we can pull from, there's more we can play with, there's more we can go into, right? And so it really expands upon even the things that I'm doing, because I was incorporating color, Agne. I was incorporating color in my energy clearings. I was incorporating I was incorporating the information that you were giving us, Aurelia. So I know that my work is deep, but I know that it was able to go deeper for having these extra eyes and extra hearts and extra love involved.
Sure. Beautiful. Chandani, would you recommend somebody this experience, this journey that you have gone through?
I've already been talking about it to my friends. I'm so impressed. I had heard about energy healers and like how you hear and you experience things, but sometimes to like little extent. But this one is like huge. It's not something that um I mean I know the shift inside me that happened. It's not like this little shift. It's like a big shift. I feel like such a new person right now with so many possibilities and staying in that oh there's so many possibilities now. um it's amazing, it's just amazing. I myself I'm like so awed, like such a big like transformation can happen.
Yeah, beautiful.
So we were talking about the time frame, and 5 weeks, 6 weeks. In one level, we would think, oh, because it's only 6 weeks, but so much can happen in 6 weeks. Like, I know when I started getting work from other people, and when I started practicing my practice in with conviction and commitment every day, I had years of change in days sometimes.
Yeah.
I would look back and go, oh my goodness, this would have taken me 5 years to do. So for me, that I usually work for a week and it was split up into 6 weeks. It feels like I use so much more time. But then I look at, wow, all of this in just 6 weeks.
Mhm.
I have to remember what it was like before I had all these people in my life and before I had all these tools, how long things took to
Yeah.
change. So,
Yeah, and I think, that's only knowing what needs to change in more specifics, the information that we receive from Aurelia, it's so significant. Because me too, I would say like in the past couple of years, I made like change that would probably take decades for others, because of, access to this quantum healing tool. But as well, I was working with other practitioners, you, Joy, other people too. But I remember with Aurelia, when she did my scan, and I'm like, oh, can you check me again? I don't remember. Was it a couple 2 weeks maybe? Can you do another scan? And she's like, no, people don't change that fast. Well, okay. And then, yeah, there was a big shift, right? So just to say that, I mean, our tools are really effective and powerful.
And also it's not, we were talking about it, and it really requires commitment because it is not easy. So if we start with just the energy reading session, it is not easy because it's a lot of information you hear about yourself and it is deep stuff. And because I'm so interested in resistances and conflicts and blockages, so you have to hear about that. So you have to be willing to hear about that, right?
Mhm.
It's not a session of a list of compliments. And so you have to be willing to look at this, and you have to be willing to go through uncomfortable feelings, just what Chani said. Like when you are so attached and in labeling things, and this is your comfort zone, and then you have to go out of it and just trust that, okay, I can try it and see how it will be. Of course, these moments of changes are uncomfortable, and they require a commitment and work and willingness to be in some uncomfortable places till you find how to be comfortable in there as well, and you expand like that. So I want to say that without this commitment and willingness to go internally and look into our shadow sides, our hidden parts, to really, we cannot make a change if we do not want to face the reality. So we have to be able to look at the reality, see things for how they are, acknowledge them. And once we see them and acknowledge them, then we can change them. And this is not an extremely easy thing to do. This is why also I think that the support is so welcome, because doing that on our own, we just tend to listen to our fears and run away from it and just, oh, I'll do it later. It's okay. It's not a big deal, right? But when you have people calling you out on your things and you just have this time when you sit and you know, this is the work we'll be doing, I'm signing up for that, then you will do the work and it's easier. It is easier for me. I notice myself running away from my uncomfortable feelings as well, even if I know the theory, right? So yeah, and it requires a commitment for sure. For sure. So thank you for
I'd
that.
I'd like to add one more thing, like Aurelia just said it. So there were days when I would have sessions with you, and those were amazing. And then after a couple of days, when my kids were home and I was so busy um in my usual stuff, when I wouldn't have time for myself to think, I would feel these things so heavy, like, my entire, there was such a huge difference. Like after taking your sessions, I would be like, okay, fine, relax. And, I know the internal process is working. And suddenly being thrown in the total opposite situation. And after that, Monday and Tuesday used to be the healing time where I was like, there's so many emotions and such heaviness that used to come out. And I was like, what is happening here? Like, um, those are very heavy. I mean, I would just sit like that. Very uncomfortable, very, very uncomfortable feelings. Um, but like when I did it again, and then when I had the sessions back again. So it's like I took the session, I was here, and then going down, and then trying to come up. Again, the same loop system I was talking about earlier. But then when you both came again the next week, right? 2 sessions a week, right? So you lifted me up again. So even while I was like going down, your the sessions with you would lift me back again. So these 5 weeks were all also like going down, going up, going down, going up. And during that, I released a lot of um, unwanted emotions and sorry. So I was able to release it and understand that it's okay. I'll go down and then come up. That is again a part I wanted to add. So this 5 weeks where you both were there after your sessions were very, very important.
And the process you are describing with initiating change, because these emotional energies are in our system, they need to go out. And they go out from the heart through the throat chakra. So it means that all these negative emotions will come up. We need to sit with them, express them, maybe write, maybe cry, maybe sing, shout, whatever. And they go out of our system. And this is how the clearing happens. But when we do not have a support, when we do not talk about it, when we try to avoid it, what we do is that when this energy wants to clear itself and goes up, we just put it back again and we're like, no, I will not be there. I will not do that. I want to run away from it. And so then it never clears. And so we keep on carrying it. But it really requires courage to sit through it so that we allow it to come up, we feel it, we express it, and then it's out. And then we reconnect our resources, we feel peace again, and we can do another clearing. And because you were doing these clearings on an intense level and you were willing to sit through it, you've just done a lot of work. Like you've cleared a lot of things continuously. And this is really beautiful, and it really requires commitment and courage to be there. But once you become familiar with the process, and once you know that I can be through that, it means that later on in your life, you have this knowing already. I know that whatever negative emotion comes up, I will be able to sit through it. I will be able to clear it because I've just seen that. And this is like, you are in your power then. You just know how the work is done, and you know that you are able to do that. And this is great.
Right, exactly. Like, going through the loop again and again. Sometimes we don't even know that we are getting in the loop. And sometimes we may think, like, I used to think, oh, I can always come out. No, I mean, I went inside and I got sucked in. And then I kept on going in the loop again and again and again. And this time when I was going in the loop, you were there and then pulling me up. And then I was like, no, I don't have to go back in the loop again. That wisdom also, where like when I remember you telling me very clearly, I need to set my boundaries and I need to express it from the very first session when you told those things used to come in my mind. And I was like, okay, this is okay to do that. Um, and I remember from the first session, you gave me so many insights to it. And during those moments, it helped me so much. And not, I know for sure now, it's not only that going in the loop, it's also avoiding going in that loop, being stuck. And yes, I made the exit. And when I made the exit, I knew, okay, it's, we should know that, okay, once we've experienced it, don't get sucked back in again. That part also. Because right now, as a, like, I have this knowing that how things are opening up for me, and I know the infinite possibilities. And but this, I know it's because you were there for me with the support. And how we often discount this process, like, even if I know it, but it's like the power of being together and being there and sending the energies together and staying there. um
Holding the
that part,
intention.
right. I don't think so, it's not, it's, I don't know. I don't know, but I feel it was coming together because your energies were there, and I know that
So I think it's really great that I always feel the difference between the work that we're doing collectively and individually is that it is an experience, but we are also giving tools. And I feel like it's and they're, for the most part, simple, right? Profound, but they're simple tools that if someone puts the effort, they can use them for miraculous ends. And so I have had a wonderful experience this 6 weeks, and
It's been a
like
beautiful journey.
I'm really kind of sad for it to end. We might have to create like a 12-month program or something like that. I don't know, but all this information is so useful, and the experience has been such a great experience on my end, and you've been beautiful to work with, and my door is always open.
Yes.
thank you so much. I was thinking about it, like today we have this session, and will I be like, then I'll not be taking more sessions. I was like, no, 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 I should stay in touch. I mean, I feel like you are inside me now, It's like you, your philosophy and the wisdom is inside me. And probably these are the experiences I may not want to end. But I understand, like the very first session I had with you, Joy, like you asked me to end even your experience, and that was very powerful.
Beautiful. Yeah, so now you are fully equipped to do to tackle all your challenges in life, and in case anything comes up, we will be here for you.
Thank you
So
so
feel free
much.
to reach out.
I highly recommend this. There is nothing better that I would say. We all need support, and the way this has been created, this program has been created, is just like it fits perfectly. It fits perfectly.
Thank you, Chanani. Thank
You're welcome.
you, Joy and Aurelia, too.
Thank you all. Thank you. This was really great. I was
Thank you all.
impressed by the results. It was
Mm.
really, really beautiful. Thank you. Thank you all.